Hello everybody and welcome to another video. So in this video we're going to be talking about the announcement that we got yesterday from the Space Marine 2 devs. What could that mean? And speculate on what we could be getting from the potential new patch. So let's jump in. So yes, we have an announcement, an official sort of response to the patch 4.0. And yeah, so we've got is they've said we have closely read your feedback. There's been quite a lot of it regarding the latest patch for Space Marine 2, and we're actively working on another one, including balance fixes, and it should be released next week. Again, thank you for your support for the Emperor. Right. So what is the feedback that they'll be getting? Well, in the regards to feedback, it's been more bitching and moaning, to be completely honest. It seems to be a lot of people have been blowing it way out of proportion. Now, I will admit, the lower sort of levels spawning has been a little bit erratic. I mean, I've never really seen that amount of extremist sort of enemies on a level 1 while I was trying to level my sniper, or even on like a level 2 mission, an average level mission. And substantial is pretty, can get a little bit rough. And, it seems to be that the spawning and the amount of enemies you get during a spawn is quite high. Now, we already went over yesterday about what has actually nerfed, and there's not really that much. Melters to an extent, and I've still used my melter on my Vanguard and the multi-melter on my Heavy, and it still does an incredible amount of damage. It's definitely really good at clearing out hordes and everything else, which is kind of what you want it to do. And yeah, so it's not massively nerfed. Now, the Melter Bomber potentially, but I've not really seen many of them, so I don't know if they've reduced the spawn rate. Now, other people are reporting that their rolling is done and that the Melter got like a stealth nerf and stuff like that. I don't necessarily think this is legit. I think a lot of people generally just make things up to make things worse out than it actually is. It always seems to come from larger content creators. One of the things that obviously is evident is lethal. Now, I played a lot of lethal yesterday, and I'm going to continue playing a lot more lethal today. I wouldn't necessarily say it is overtly hard. What I will say is it is a challenge, especially when you get 3 lictors and a Ravager pop up out of nowhere. And you kind of have to be coordinated. But I've been running in with entirely random strangers in pickup groups, and only maybe once or twice had a serious issue. Most people seem to understand that you kind of need to stay close to each other, and I know that is a bone of contention in itself in regards to people are saying that this is against class identity. Now, I would say in the case of snipers, in some sniper weaponry, the further away you are, the more damage you do, and being a little bit close by to opponents, to your fellow Marines, is not necessarily what you want to be doing, because you want to be engaging what's further on down the battlefield. Now, you potentially still can. One of the things that I have noticed with really, really good players that I've been playing with on Lethal is that the ability, especially bulwarks, of when to know when to drop those flags. Even saying in chat or over a voice comm, right, I've got a flag ready. If you've got a stim, get ready to use them. Or dropping them when we're about to do some execute so we can get that health back. And that is really, really handy. The biggest thing that I have noticed, and I'm sure someone can be able to confirm this, is I have not seen one sniper or one Vanguard, one Assault Marine in any form of lethal missions. They always seem to consist of either a tactical, a bulwark, and myself on my Vanguard, or it's been a tactical and a heavy and myself on my Vanguard. Or if I've been managed to get on with my tactical, I've been at the tactical either with a bulwark, a heavy, or a Vanguard. Snipers and assault just aren't shown, and I'm not too sure if this is a problem or an issue, if that is an actual legit observation. I'm sure if anyone else who's been running lethal missions will be able to sort of confirm that as well. And if you are an assault main, let me know how you're finding the lethal level. Would be pretty good to know. But so what are we going to get? So we're going to get a patch next week. Right, cool. So what's it probably going to be? Well, I think they're probably going to nerf it hard. Knee-jerk reaction is pretty much what I'm expecting. I'm expecting the coherency mechanic in Lethal to stay, but I'm thinking that the actual coherency bubble itself, the actual size of the bubble, will probably get bigger. I'm fully expecting the respawn rate that happens to get toned down somewhat, and probably some weapons buffed. I don't think they'll actively go back on themselves and what they've done, but I think they'll try to address that. One thing I will say is the whole review bombing thing, because they did something to your game, is seriously sad. The game doesn't warrant being review bombed, even if you don't agree with the patch. It's not that bad. I mean, people coming out going, "It's not fun." It's against casual. Like, look, let's just look at it this way, right? And I'm somebody who's pushing into lethal difficulty missions. Like, if you're a casual player, you have no business whatsoever being in a lethal mission. I'm just going to say that now. If you're a player who hasn't mastered the basics of your parry block, your parry and your parry windows and your dodge windows, you have absolute zero right or even any place whatsoever to be in a lethal mission. Because if you haven't formulated the basic mechanics of the game, you're not going to survive 5 seconds in a lethal mission. I know that may sound like really bad and people might take offense to that, but I really don't care. That's how it is. Like, if you've come from any other game, so I'm going to use an MMO as an example, like World of Warcraft. If you are a casual player, right, who is literally just doing open world content, you do your quests, you do your little world quests, you do your little dragon riding, and you do a little, that's about it. And then you've sort of dabbled a little bit with LFR, and then you decide to join a group for Mythic raiding, and you get absolutely curb stomped because you're standing in shit and you're just not doing your job correctly. It's not the game's fault. It's you. You are the problem. It's your fault. You've gone into a game mode that you are way out of depth for. And that's exactly what this is. If you are a casual player and you've gone into lethal mode and you instantly go, "Oh my god, this is too hard, it needs to be nerfed." No, it doesn't need to be nerfed. You need to stop going in there, because you're not ready for that. There is 5 levels of difficulty for the game. If you want to play at a certain level and kind of cakewalk it and have fun smashing your buttons and killing everything, then play a low level. If you want the challenge of actually going in and defeating something with an element of challenge, then that is exactly what Ruthless and Lethal difficulty are for. So that's it. Like, stop. Content creators like Valrak, who openly went, "Oh, it's not fun, Lethal is not fun, the game is no longer fun with this patch." No, that is literally a skill issue. You can't play the game correctly. You don't understand how to play the game. Also, you're a self-confessed PvPer, so shut the fuck up and keep out of the PvE. Simple as that. If you don't do it and you only really play PvP, you don't really get any form of say on what's going on in the PvE side, because it's got nothing to do with you. We're not bitching and moaning about PvP, so leave it alone. And you get this in all sorts of games when you get two sort of communities. You get the PvP and PvE community, and generally they leave each other alone. World of Warcraft is a perfectly good example of this. You have the PvP community, you have the PvE community. The PvE community does not bitch and moan about the PvP. The PvP guys do not bitch and moan about what's going on in the raids. Period. Two different sets of playing the game, two different communities in the same game. And that's pretty much how this is probably going to turn into. You are going to get players that are just interested in operations, and you're going to get players that are just interested in PvP. What happens between those two is perfectly fine. As soon as one community starts going on about the other because they try to dip their toe into it and then they get slapped, no. Like, I would class myself mostly as a PvE player. I enjoy my operations way more than PvP. But I'm not going to go into PvP, start playing games, and then start making demands for things to get nerfed. or things to be changed because I find them not the way I like it. If I go into PvP and get absolutely raffle stomped by somebody with a power fist, I'm not instantly going to hit the groups going, oh my god, power fists are overpowered, they need nerfed. No, they don't. It's just because I'm not used to being hit in the face like that. Whereas if I go into a group and go, bolt weapons need buffed in PvE, then in operations, then that's a legitimate thing because I honestly think that bolt weapons do need some extra damage. If I'm doing headshots into a Majorus enemy and it's taking me 6 or 7 shots to actually do any form of damage or even staggering them or getting them to turn red, that's a problem. Maybe I should only maybe do, like, you know, especially with I've got all my buffs as a tactical marine, maybe that's a problem. So maybe that needs to be addressed. But if I'm doing it to a player in PvP where there is no real stats or buffs or anywhere else of sort of changing things, then, you know, that's not really my place. So I'm not going to do that. So if you are a PvP player, do not bitch and moan about operations because it's not your genre. It's not your area of the game. Stick to punching people in the face and allow us to clear our mad hordes. And that's generally my view. I know that probably some people are not going to really like that view, but I really don't care. Right, but yeah, so we're going to get the patch next week. I do expect there to be some knee-jerk reaction, a lot of knee-jerk reaction from the devs, mainly because of the review bombing, because obviously, and I don't think that's warranted. Like, if you've review bombed it, don't review bomb it. Like, seriously, don't review bomb it. The reason why Helldivers 2 was review bombed because Sony stepped in and shit on the community by demanding PC Steam players sign up to their PSN account thing. And they actually overtly lied when they turned around and said that they were going to remove it. They didn't. I can guarantee if I could look on the Steam page now, it will still be there today. In fact, do you know what? Let's just check that out. So, as I said, the reason why a lot of people are angry, and the people like myself who have not gone back to Helldivers 2, is literally because of this little boxes. Incorporated third-party DRM end protection game. Requires a third-party account on PlayStation Network. Now, they turned around and said that we no longer need to do this, and this was being removed. How many months ago? And it's still there. This is the reason why I will not play Helldivers 2. Because they flat out lied. They tried to appease the community, saying that this wasn't relevant and that it's still on the Steam page and hasn't been removed. Because they're just going to wait until all the heat of it dies down, and then eventually you're going to get that implemented and you're going to have to. Bearing in mind that half the player base from outside of the PlayStation's remit, the games that countries that they don't support, can't play Helldivers 2 because of this. That's the reason why Helldivers 2 did what they did and why they were review bombed. So review bombing Space Marine 2 is not the same just because of a patch. You know, it's not. Just give the devs the feedback on social media and in their Discord, and they will sort of go on to that. But that's the video. So yeah, so patch next week. I'm sure as when it comes out, I'll do a video on it, and we'll have a cover it. But until then, you know, just keep playing it. And like I said before, if you are struggling with the new spawn rates and everything else, just drop it down a level, and get used to your parry windows and your perfect dodge windows. Just get used to that, and really get used to the actual gun strikes as well, and getting them in, and then you'll slowly but surely get better at the game, and you'll slowly get into that rhythm. If you're playing a Bulwark, good luck. It is a very, very challenging class to play right now. I'm like leveling up my Bulwark in the hope that I can actually really get the timing right. But yeah, if you're playing Vanguard or a Tactical Marine, you'll be able to chair through it quite quickly, especially in the Salt Marine as well. Chainsword's definitely really good. But level up your weapons, level up your perks, and get all that kind of stuff, and you'll slowly be able to walk into the higher difficulties without any real issue once you've got those basics down, and you'll be able to have a crack at lethal and enjoy it, hopefully. But hopefully the nerfs aren't too severe and they don't knee-jerk reaction too much. But I guess we're going to be finding out. I am probably expect this patch to drop down Tuesday or Wednesday next week, to be fair. All right. But I will do a video once it does. But that's the video, everybody. If you like what I do, please like, subscribe, share, and all that good stuff. And I will hopefully see you on the battlefield. Catch you later, brothers. Bye-bye.